In recent years, Snapchat has become one of the largest social network apps out there. The convenience of being able to send a quick picture message to any of your friends or even mass share what you're up to in life has been something that a lot of other apps have tried to replicate, with mixed success. While a lot of information from the app is largely disposable, there most definitely are some strange uploads that might make you stop and say, "Wait a minute. What?" Today, I'm joined by Mike O from that chapter to share with you the disturbing story of the Snapchat intruder. The story surrounds a post by a user on Reddit named Skinna555. He opens his post by apologizing for being such a terrible writer before going on to explain some background. He claims that he and his partner had moved in with his parents to save some cash for their new home. His parents own 3 birds, and apparently his friends take great interest in them whenever he talks about them. Knowing this, he took a few Snapchats and posted them to a story for his friends, and within 15 minutes of uploading, he received a peculiar response. One of his good friends replied saying, "Haha, you bearded beast, those birds are mad. By the way, what the fuck was that in the window behind you in the last one?" Completely confused as to what he was talking about, he rewatched the upload a few more times before his stomach sank. He immediately saved them for further review, but before we continue, I'd like to show you what he witnessed.
Right, so the first one of my parents' little birds is this little guy. It is little Leo. He's a cockatiel. The second little bird of my parents is a rainbow lorikeet. His name is Oliver. And there he is. And here I am with my good little mate, Puffin.
And here's an enhanced version, in case you didn't catch it.
And here I am with my good little mate, Puffin.
He then proceeded to give us some backstory on why this especially freaks him out so much. All throughout his teen years, Skinna was suffering from severe episodes of sleep paralysis. These events would happen once or twice a month, and while he could breathe during them, he definitely couldn't move. Strangely, when he turned 14, he started to hear and see things in these episodes, and something started recurring. He claims that he would begin to see a strange, faceless man peering into his window, much in the same exact position that the person had in his Snapchat story. However, when he would wake up from it, the figure would be gone. Just like that. At age 18, he moved out of his parents' house and never experienced another severe episode like that again. He would only endure minor and quite short sleep paralysis once in a blue moon. However, it was nothing too major. He claimed that he's now 26 and is quite freaked out by what looks exactly like what he experienced in his teenage years. Following up with some edits, he claimed that there was actually no glass between him and the figure when the Snap story was uploaded. The door was completely open, and the only thing between him and the person was a simple fly screen door. This largely eliminated the possibility of it being a reflection, and through his story another hint of authenticity. He then proceeded to give us a tour of the room, to give us another perspective on things. Closing his post, he let us know that it's been a few days, and he thankfully hasn't experienced anything else. That was until a week or so later, when he made a follow-up post about his story.
He opened his account by thanking everyone for the advice and that everything seemed to be going well for a few days. He was led to believe that someone was scoping out the house in an attempt to rob it in the near future, and that he simply caught what would be a thief on camera. He then goes forth to state that he repurposed one of his old phones as a camera-only device to hopefully catch this intruder should anything arise in the future. A mental note was also taken to be absolutely sure to lock every door and window when he'd be home alone, and he allegedly followed this very, very closely. Anyway, he then goes forth to say that, "I woke up Friday and went to work. Nothing was out of the ordinary. However, the entire day I felt an oncoming dread since I'd be home alone again that night. I can't just go out every Friday and Saturday night to avoid the house though, so I was trying not to be too concerned. On Friday night, my parents left the house at 7, and my partner left to work around 8:30 since she works at a club. Things were fine and I was playing games with some friends on Steam for a few hours until about 10:15, when some shit went down. I started to hear some relatively loud banging coming from outside the screen door. It was definitely something scraping or banging around out there, so I stayed silent, carefully took the headset off of my head, got up out of my chair, and started filming. Skinner then goes forth to film the downstairs as the banging is happening, and tries to search the laundry room before proceeding to the back screen door. He doesn't seem to catch anything back there until a noise is heard once more from another part of the house. Once he hears it, he rushes over to check it out. Now, it seemed that nothing happened in the video and it was probably just some wind or something. Possibly? He claims that he didn't call the cops and kept all the lights on for the rest of the night while staying away from all the windows until his parents got home at 11 p.m. For some reason, he didn't tell his parents about the situation. However, when his partner got home around midnight, he gave her the heads up about what happened. Skinner then goes forth to open the floor for advice and suggestions, and users, of course, all chimed in with their thoughts. There was one thing that stood out among the rest though. He posted an update claiming that a user named Abel Carbon posted a comment that included an enhanced version of the video. And before I talk about it, I want to see if you can spot what ended up freaking him out so much.
He claims that the mass in the corner was most definitely not supposed to be there, and he thinks that it's the person that broke in. He goes forth to say that him and his partner stayed at a motel that night, and would proceed to call the cops the next day, as they now have footage of the supposed creep. Closing his post, he let us know that him and his partner have been staying at a friend's house and that they're okay. The birds are fine, and nothing was stolen. Apparently, the police were freaked out by the footage, and they hypothesized that a two-man team tried to rob his parents. They could have had one person downstairs trying to lure Skinner downstairs and out of the house, as the other does the work from the inside. Strangely though, the windows and doors were locked as we mentioned before, so the cops theorized that the intruder may have entered and subsequently exited through the roof somehow. Also, He mentioned that the stairs would have definitely made noise if the person were going up and down them, so he would have had to be strikingly careful to carry out this plan. Nonetheless, he was entirely freaked out and claimed that he's going to stay at his friend's for the week and discuss whether or not to move back to his parents' house before his story ends.
Now, this story is a special one for one tiny little detail. He has video evidence of these encounters. It should be definitive, right? Well, let's dive into a few quick theories that I can come up with in regards to this really fast. The first theory I have is that this is a real, genuine story, and that it's not just somebody out there trying to craft a scary story. The logic in the guy's entries seems to flow well with the footage provided, and it just seems to have a strange hint of authenticity, especially given the large figure that he captured in the corner. This very easily could have been a home intruder that was caught on camera, and this guy could have contributed to the prevention of his parents' house being robbed at the risk of his own life. Alright, this second theory might anger a few of you, but hear me out. This entire hypothesis surrounds a very real possibility that this entire story could be fake. Now, to begin this segment, I'd like to address the elephant in the room. Do you have any idea on what that might be? Yes, it's a no-sleep story, and I almost was repelled on even touching this because of that. I'm not bashing on no sleep as a whole, but honestly, let's face it, of all the cliche subreddits that are oversaturated with fake, quote, true scary stories, no sleep is the unfortunate pioneer of that very stigma, and it very much plagues this story. It was hard getting past it then, and honestly, the more I talk about it, the harder it is to get past it now. Anyway, another point that I want to touch on surrounds the claims about his past. Now honestly, while interesting, it legitimately does nothing to support any evidence given by the video. Looking back to his first post and the comments below it, everyone led him to believe that it was a home intruder that was scoping out his house. This, far and large, left me wondering what the significance of the sleep paralysis was at all. The only connection that I could make was that it was divine timing and a massive coincidence that their positions were the same, but other than that, it simply has no relevance. We have to consider that his parents live here no matter what, and if they haven't experienced anything like this prior, then this largely screams filler in order to create a spooky story. Lastly, I want to touch on the end footage, and I'll just demonstrate exactly where I'm going with this. Hey man, could you do me a favor?
Yeah, sure. What's up?
Yeah, could you stand right over there in the corner? I'm trying to film something.
Okay, yeah. What are you filming?
Don't worry about it, man. I'm writing a scary story and I just need some footage. Just stand over there and I'm gonna walk through here while shaking the camera.
Oh, alright, yeah, sure. Is this good?
Yeah, that's perfect, man. That should work. As you might expect, that ending is that easy to replicate, and Skinner could have done just that. I could continue with a few more nitpicky things, like how he somehow didn't see the massive figure in the corner while he was walking through the room with somewhat ample lighting. However, I'm sure you get the point here. The last theory surrounds one glaringly large possibility, that this was a prank. Now, while Skinner claimed that he didn't recognize the figure in the corner, this could have been done by a friend or a family member as a huge prank. The reason I consider this theory is that a lot of people have been scratching their heads on how the hell this person got in and out so quickly and quietly without Skinner hearing them. Theories have been made that they entered and exited through the roof, but I honestly see this as a large stretch. This possibly could have been someone with an easy method of re-entry, or someone with a... Aha! A key. Now, this doesn't consider any house alarms going off to any extent. However, if someone entered through any window, be it on the roof or inside the house alarm would go off. So it's possible to assume that their home security was either disabled or that they don't have one. Now, with a prank, we have to consider the possibility of a motive. Well, honestly, I have one right here. It was in late October when this story was posted. This could have very well been some sort of Halloween prank played on this guy, and it would somewhat make sense. Friend dresses up in a creepy costume, friend has access to a potential spare key, friend gets in, other friend makes noise outside, Skinner gets scared, and everyone has a laugh. The only thing dragging that down though, is the fact that Skinner was never told that it was a prank at all. If it were one of his friends messing around, surely they would have told him by now, unless he hasn't told us. Anyway guys, the large viewer consensus for this story is that it was someone who was scoping out the house before finally intruding and escaping. While you now know my take on this story, I'd love to hear yours. Was this an entirely legitimate affair? Was this all staged out by Skinner himself? Or was this an elaborate and nonsensical prank that never revealed itself? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Before we go, I'd like to give a huge thanks to Mike O from that chapter for joining me on this ride. If you like content along the lines of Rob Dyke or Kaylee Elise, go give his fantastic work a look. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description below. Also, before I forget, I'd like to give a huge shout out to my latest NightmareExpo Platinum patron. Huge thanks to Spell iCup. I see what you did there. Anyway guys, thanks once again for watching. I'll see you in the next one. I love you all, and good night. Wait, what? It's our 1-year anniversary? 1 whole year? Guys, thank you so much for an absolutely incredible year on this platform. The growth that we've achieved so far is complete insanity, and I'm so glad to have lived through this past year with all of you. The constant support, endless advice.
You're getting too emotional, man.
Oh yeah, my bad, man. I guess you're right.
The pizza man is not pleased.
Wait, what?
Hey Ryan,
Can we please get this
I got
fucking
something
guy off the
very
stage?
important
Let's be
to tell
real.
you.
Nobody cares.
No
Get this
one.
guy
Okay,
out of
okay,
here.
that's enough. Somebody unplug his mic now.
Whoa, guys, I'm just trying to celebrate.
Yeah, congratulations and all, but being sappy during a milestone video is my deal. So wrap it up, pal.
You know what, Nick? It's actually funny that you bring that up because it kind of sounds like this guy thinks he could have done all this without a certain someone holding his hand the entire way through.
Fine. All I wanted was 2 minutes!